What up, ladies and gentlemen? We are getting messy today. We're talking about Shannon Sharp and what our face is really telling us. We're going to get into it. Let's get it. Welcome. First of all, welcome. This is Unsolicited Perspectives. I'm your host, Bruce Anthony, here to lead the conversation in important events and topics that are shaping today's society. Join the conversation and follow us wherever you get your audio podcasts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for our video podcasts and YouTube exclusive content. Rate, review, like, comment, share. Share with your friends, share with your family, hell, even share with your enemies. On today's episode, it's the Sibling Happy Hour. I'm here with my sis, Aundrea. We're going to be dilly-dallying a little bit. Then we're going to be talking about Shannon Sharp's allegations. And then we're going to be talking about basically me and my facial expressions. But really, why do we make our facial expressions? But that's enough of the intro. Let's get to the show. What up, sis?
What up, brother?
I can't call it. We both got a lot going on today.
Yes.
A lot going on today.
Yes.
My AC is broke. Now, it hasn't been a big issue because it hasn't really gotten hot, or it's just now starting to get warm.
Okay.
And so they said something about the compressor was blown. Oh, by the way, it's been blown for a little while. I didn't know my air conditioner was broke. This tastes pretty. I didn't know my air conditioner was broke.
Yeah.
And got my utility bill, and that's how I realized my air conditioner was broke. The compressor was just pumping. I mean, the utility bill was 5 times what it normally is.
Oh, no. Yeah.
So I'm not happy about that. I already paid it, so it is what it is. But they've been waiting for this part, and this part is taking like 2 weeks to get in. And then finally, they was just like, all right, we couldn't get the main part, but we got another part. And so we're going to fix it. I was like, okay. He told me, the maintenance guy told me this Monday. He said, the part will be in on Wednesday. We'll fix it on Thursday. I said, okay, cool. He sees me earlier today in the gym, and it's like 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:30 in the morning. And he says, hey, the part is in. We're going to go ahead and do it today. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, how intricate is this? And then, you know me, I'm not mechanically inclined. So he's just going off and telling me these things. And I
don't even know why you asked the question.
What I really wanted to know was, how long is this going to take? Because I thought it was just replacing the part.
Why didn't you just ask that?
Well, I did eventually.
Okay.
After he started talking, I was like, okay, I'm not following it. How long is this going to take? Yeah. He was like, oh, about 6 hours. I said, 6 hours? Why is it going to take so long? And I was like, y'all ain't got 6 hours. You got 6 hours if you start right now, because I got things I got to do. I got stuff I got to record and things like that. He said, okay. So the maintenance people up here doing the work, they're going from here to the roof. I look in the closet where my air conditioner is, or whatever the unit is. I guess it's an HVAC or whatever. I don't even know what it's called.
It's something.
The whole thing is gone. They gave me a whole new one. That's the reason why it's taking 6 hours.
Oh, so they couldn't get the part to replace.
Right.
So they just replaced the whole unit. That was the part that they were alternate part.
Yeah, so they just replaced the whole thing. But dig this here. So they just left 20 minutes, because I told them, I was like, hey man, when y'all wrapping up, because I can't have all this banging as I'm recording. They was like, oh, we're cleaning up now. I was like, so we good to go? It was like, no, something's still not right. I said, so y'all been here all day.
All day.
And my air conditioner still ain't working right. And I know it's getting hot outside because I'm waking up sweating, even with all the fans.
Yep.
I'm waking up sweating. This problem need to be resolved immediately.
Expeditiously.
Right. It needed to be solved. So they said, we're going to come back tomorrow, some with the Freon. I was like, you talk about stuff I don't know nothing about. Tomorrow it'll be fixed? Yeah, it'll be fixed tomorrow. All right.
It better. Because as this temperature goes up.
Woo, yeah, because
don't play.
It's starting to get up there.
Yeah.
You know, DC. I can't breathe outside because
the pollen.
Yeah. It's so bad I could taste it.
It's the worst. It's you literally can taste it. It's in the air. It's on the air. It's floating on the air.
And it don't taste good.
No.
Don't taste good.
No.
But you're extremely tired.
Yes, very, very much so. It's finals time and it's crunch time. I got one presentation due tomorrow. Don't know what's going to happen with that. So another thing, I'm building an app and it's not working. And so it's I'm stressed out.
Did you try the thing I suggested? When's the last time I talked to you? Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah, did you try the things I was talking about on Sunday?
I forgot what those things are.
You don't
I don't remember.
We'll talk about that off air.
Okay.
Yeah, you got a lot going on, and you suggested, ladies and gentlemen, we are filming this on a Wednesday. All of this is easier for me because now we are not filming multiple hours of content on my Sunday Fun Day, which I just absolutely love. But my sister made this suggestion about 2 weeks before she should have.
Yes. I should have said, hey, once finals are over, my Wednesdays will be open. But because they are not currently. So
well, you know what? I think it's healthy to take an hour-long break to jibber jabber with your brother.
You know what? I think you're right. So let's get to jibber jabbering.
Clear your mind and your soul and get to laughing. That's all. That's what
I don't know why I got to clear my soul.
No, you got to, because your soul is corrupted when y'all is working. I don't know. I don't know. I was reading an article. It wasn't an article. It was an article, but I found it on my favorite social media site, Reddit. Mm-hmm. So there was this picture of this. It was a frat house. On the University of Maryland. And I was trying to figure out where the hell it was because I thought I knew where all the frat houses were. But I didn't, because I'm only thinking about Frat Row, and a lot of people that hasn't been to the University of Maryland don't even understand what I'm talking about. But there was a fraternity row that was shaped like a horseshoe that had, I don't know, 10 to 12 different fraternity houses. I mean, these are like big mansions.
Yes.
All in this little courtyard. So I'm reading this article because everybody was like, what is this? I see it on campus. I don't know what it is. And this is letting me know that these young kids don't understand what frat houses are. I guess it's not a thing anymore. And it's kind of like,
no, I'm pretty sure there's still frat houses.
Maybe they're not as prevalent as when we were going to school.
That's where all the parties and stuff used to be.
Well,
but I mean,
these kids ain't doing what we used to do.
Frat parties, the connotation that, the implication that came along with frat parties, maybe they've gone out of vogue because they could be quite dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, they were very toxic. They were toxic places.
Yeah.
For
everybody.
For everybody involved. So I'm reading this article. And the article, of course, was a slumlord in Maryland, in the state of Maryland. And what he did is that he ran for mayor in College Park and lost. And one of the reasons why he lost when he ran for mayor is because it came out during the, investigation that he owed a lot of back taxes. Like he ain't paid. He was running in 2017. He owed taxes in 2005.
Right.
So here it is. I think it was 2018, 19, 2020.
Okay.
These people are moving into one of these frat houses that he owns. And I guess it was no longer considered a frat house anymore, just a place where people could rent rooms.
Okay.
And he took all these people's money, especially students, and he lost the property because of the back taxes. And another company took it over. And another company was like, yeah. That old lease that y'all thought y'all had, no, we're going to do this. And y'all need to sign right here, right now. And people were like, well, no, we don't agree to these new terms. And they was like, all right, we'll get the hell out. And this was right around finals. I'm reading the article and this happened right around finals.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, that's crazy. Our old stomping grounds, finals. And these people were like, we got evicted. I don't know. It's kind of hard to focus on studies.
When you're homeless.
Yeah. She's homeless. She's homeless.
Yeah. I mean, legit. That's the song.
That's the song.
That's the song to sing.
Right. So it was just like, yo, this is crazy. And of course, on Reddit be having some crazy stuff, y'all.
It also be having the news.
Old news, I guess.
But it has the news on there. No, Reddit's actually pretty up to date if you follow the news subreddit, or politics subreddit, and all this pretty up to date.
Yeah, it's not as toxic. It's the least toxic of all the social medias, in my opinion.
That's pretty
The most toxic. Yeah, I didn't say it wasn't toxic. I said the least toxic.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, because
I mean,
X
we all
is still the
know
most.
X is, yes. I was
X
just
is still
about
the
to.
most.
Actually, it was probably gonna be whatever that MAGA platform is.
Truth Social.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be Truth Social, but none of us would dare to have a account on Truth Social. So.
Well, when I say toxic, I mean the comments are toxic, right? Like on Truth Social, I already expect to be toxic, but I don't think the individual commentators on each post are as venomous to the people that are posting, because I don't believe.
I think they're probably venomous about whatever the subject matter is that's being posted. Yes.
But when I say what I mean by toxic is like people actually coming after the posters.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't think it's like that. I don't think it's like that.
No. It's probably one big happy community on Truth Social. Honestly, everybody's just being racist and sexist and the worst.
That's what everybody is being on there. Nobody is talking about being fiscally conservative, because that's what Republicans love to talk about. They love to talk about how they're fiscally conservative. Which is an oxymoron, because you can't be fiscally conservative. An oxymoron is when I had friends that said that they were socially liberal and fiscally conservative, and I was like, you can't be both.
That's not an oxymoron, though.
Okay. What's the actual definition of oxymoron then?
It's two opposite things put together.
Yes. Those are two opposite things put together. He said the person said that they were socially liberal and fiscally conservative.
Those are not two opposite things.
But they are, in not even the theory. In practice, they are polar opposites.
Explain.
Okay. If you are socially liberal, then that means that you believe in social programs.
No, they're talking about, when they say socially liberal, they're talking about, we're going to let you do whatever you want to do in your household. We don't care about your gender identity. We believe Black Lives Matter. That's what they mean by socially liberal. They're not saying that they believe in social programs and safety net. They actually are saying the opposite of that. So what they're actually saying is not quite an oxymoron. It's hypocritical, because you can't be against social programs but say that you support people. That I would say, in that regard, it might be something of an oxymoron.
That's the point I'm trying to make. And because if you say that you're socially liberal, in its definition, socially liberal means that you believe in social programs. I don't care what their interpretation of it is. I'm saying what the actual interpretation is. If you're socially liberal, that means you believe in social programs. We gonna really debate on this?
Yeah, because social liberalism is a political philosophy and a variety of liberalism that endorses social justice. To your point, social services. A mixed economy, and the expansion of civil and political rights.
Okay. So let's go with the programs and the mixed economy. If you take those two premises of being socially liberal, then you can't be fiscally conservative.
You are correct. Then it is oxymoronic.
See, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm willing to say I'm wrong. I needed you to explain.
Yeah.
I needed you to explain. And now that, yes, you are correct. It is oxymoronic.
That's like somebody came to me one time and they said that I used the word that me and you were getting in a debate about. It was a word that I always use. Not hyperbolic, which I love that word, by the way.
You like hypocritical.
Oh, hypocritical is one of my favorite words of all time. But it was a word that hubris. That's what it was, hubris. And they're like, you didn't use it right. And I was like, yes, I did. Let's break out the definitions. And I did.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I don't always say words well.
You don't always say sentences well. But sometimes you know what you're talking about, and you are correct.
I
That is
know what
oxymoronic.
I know what I'm intending to say when I say the things that I say. They just don't travel that well from my brain to my mouth. You know, I got a lisp and I got a big tongue and my lips are big and I don't open my mouth wide enough, I guess, when I talk. Plus I talk out the side of my mouth and my mind is moving faster than my lips can move. It's a lot of things going over there.
That was a long list that you just rattled off there for reasons why you don't talk good.
But I do
quite a list.
But I do know words and I know the definitions, and I'm quite literal with the words that I use.
Meaning,
I use the literal definition of the words, not what people have morphed the word to mean in its current in our current state of being.
Well, here's the thing. Language is not math. So the rules can change and often very much do change. So you are using a definition of a thing, but it might be a past definition that definition might be deprecated, and you might be using it in the wrong context now. So you do have to understand that I'm just telling you what you can make whatever face you want to make. I'm just telling you the thing.
Webster's tells me the definition. That's the definition.
But it changes in Webster's too.
Well, and those are the definitions I follow. It's the Webster's definition. So I'll be checking the words. I'm like, did I use this right? Yeah, I use it right. Because people always want to argue with me with the words that I use. And I'm like, look, I don't just say words and I don't know what they mean.
You know what? I think maybe it's just your voice or cadence where it sounds like you're using a word and it's just wrong. And even though it's right, when I hear it, I'm like, that don't sound right.
So what you don't expect something that intelligent to come out of my mouth. That's what you basically saying.
No, you know how like my voice makes me sound like a jerk?
Well,
yeah. So it's like
you are.
No, like I say things and then people be like, I sound like a jerk, but I'm actually being genuine. Like,
yeah, genuinely a jerk.
No, I'm not trying to be a jerk at all. Like, it'll be like how y'all used to say, I apologize. I'll be like, sorry. First of all, my apologies don't sound like that.
Oh, your apologies are absolute. You know what? You just apologized recently on this episode.
Literally 2 seconds ago.
Now, it was longer than 2 seconds ago.
Well, 2 minutes ago. Fine.
Yeah, it was about 4 or 5 minutes ago. But
whatever.
That's me being literal again.
Yeah.
But when we were younger, it used to be like, Jay, you did this. And you would be like, sorry.
Yeah.
You was like, that's genuine. I was like,
it was genuine, but the way my voice sounds when I say sorry, it sounds like I'm not being genuine. That's just my voice. So something about your voice when you say words, I'm like,
So you're saying
those don't sound right.
You're saying that my voice makes me, if your voice makes you come off as a jerk, my voice makes me come off as dumb. That's what you basically saying, because you're saying, well, that word don't sound right. So you're saying that my voice, it don't seem like something that intelligent should come out of that voice. That's basically what you're saying.
Well, that's what you said. And you can draw whatever conclusions you want to draw.
What you said is what I say doesn't seem right because of my voice. You're saying that what I said in the context of what I say things is like, it don't seem like that's the way it should be. Now that I got the definition, Bruce, you're right. However, it don't seem right coming from you. Yes. Yeah, so you're calling me and my voice stupid. That's what you think.
I'm not calling you stupid because we both know that you're not stupid.
Well, we all know that I'm not stupid.
You sound dumb.
You know what? There are thousands of people that listen and watch this podcast that don't feel that way.
And also people I'm joking.
No, she's not. This has
Yes,
been a
I am.
recurring theme in the family since we were kids.
I have never said your voice sounds dumb. I've
You
never
and our
said that
brother-
to you in life.
You and our brother used to be like, "Oh, Bruce, don't worry about it. Why don't you go have some graham crackers or something?" Y'all always used to say that stuff back in the day. I was like, "Wait a minute, I'm smarter. I'm smarter right now at this moment. I'm smarter than you guys."
Well, the point was you would call yourself the dumb one. We didn't do that.
Oh, in the grand scheme of things, at our age level, yes, I was the dumb one. Y'all was both in gifted classes, like in second grade. I was in remedial until I was in fourth.
First of all, in high school, I was in a remedial class.
It was remedial math because your ass is not good at math.
Not at all. I could not pass algebra. They had me in the class.
Algebra.
It was
Passed that in eighth
algebra.
grade.
Couldn't pass it. I had summer school, everything. Could not pass algebra. I finally did after they put me in the remedial class. So it's like you have the algebra class, and then your next class explains what you just learned in that first class. So that's what my schedule was.
No, but you were still in gifted and talented in the other classes. You just wasn't good at math.
Yeah, but my grades were bad because I had ADHD and I didn't know.
Well, well, okay, yeah. And it didn't help that you just figured your senior year was, hey, I got half days. I'll just do what I want to do.
Yeah, I pretty much was just living life. No, but I was still on the honor roll though, because there's no way mom and dad would have let me get away with that attendance if I wasn't bringing home good grades.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah.
You had to work real hard. But ladies and gentlemen, this is y'all just got a good sneak peek in our dynamic from the beginning.
Yeah.
From all our lives. Bruce, what you saying doesn't sound right. Then come to find out I'm right.
Yeah, I admit it. You're right. It's just,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
your voice.
Yeah, I got a dumb sounding voice. On that note,
I am kidding, ladies and gentlemen. Please don't at me. I'm kidding.
no, she's not. She's a jerk for real. She's not playing jerk.
I'm not a jerk for real. I think I'm a very not unpleasant person.
All right, we didn't go on too long this dilly down. There was just supposed to be a little bit, and then it became an attack on me for sounding dumb. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to warn you that the next segment is parental discretion. It needs to be advised here. This is going to be a very, very tough subject to talk about. It's going to be a very graphic subject to talk about. If your kids are around and you're not a bad parent, then put your kids away, because you would be a bad parent if you let your kids listen to this. Well, I'm not going to judge you. Maybe,
don't think so.
You are doing new generation parenting and opening your kids to minds to, I don't know, that what I just said sounded stupid. So on that note, I'm going to end this segment.
I'm going to issue a trigger warning to anyone who is triggered by discussion of domestic violence and sexual abuse.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've talked about Shannon Sharp on this podcast before when he had the Cat Williams interview that blew up his podcast, Club Shay Shay, when he had Monique on there. We talked about that. He's a former football player, Super Bowl champion. He's on First Take. He's got his own podcast, several different podcasts. He's about to sign a 100 million podcast deal. I mean, the brother is rolling in it. And just as he's about to sign this deal, news break. What was the news about? This prominent commentator has been sued in Clark County, Nevada by a woman identified as Jane Doe. Her name has actually come out. We're not going to talk about what her name is. You want to look it up and you want to look up some of these graphic details, you can. We're going to talk about the overall themes and not get really, really into the details. But Jane Doe filed a lawsuit in April 2025, this month, and accuses Sharp of rape, sexual assault, battery, and inflicting emotional distress during a nearly 2-year relationship. The plaintiff is seeking over $50 million in damages. The plaintiff alleges that she met Sharp at a Los Angeles gym in early 2023 when she was either 19 or 20 years old. At that time, Shannon Sharp was 53, 54, 55, around that age. The relationship began as consensual, but allegedly became manipulative, controlling, and abusive over time. The lawsuit claims Sharp raped the woman in October 2024 and again in January 2025, both in Los Angeles. She alleges Sharp used physical violence, including choking and hitting her, and threatened to kill her if she resisted his sexual advances or confronted him about infidelity. The complainant also states Sharp recorded their sexual encounters without her consent and accessed her apartment complex without permission. The plaintiff claims to have suffered significant emotional, mental, and psychological harm as a result of Sharp's alleged accusations. She is represented by Tony Busby, and everybody knows Tony Busby because he's handling the high-profile sexual misconduct cases of Deshaun Watson and P. Diddy. Sharp is represented by attorney Lenny J. Davis, who has given him horrible advice. I'll get into that in a minute. Who has publicly denied the allegations, describing the lawsuit as a blatant and cynical attempt to shake down Sharp for money. Sharp has addressed the allegations on social media, labeling the lawsuit a shakedown and vowing to fight the claims in court. His attorney released text messages between Sharp and the plaintiff to support the claim that the relationship was consensual and included adult role-playing and fantasy scenarios initiated by the plaintiff. It's received widespread coverage because Shannon Sharp and the lawyer have both come out and made statements, as well as Tony Busby. The lawsuit is civil, not criminal, and seeks both compensatory and punitive damages exceeding over $50 million for physical, emotional, and reputational harm, excuse me. As of now, there is no public record of a criminal investigation or charges related to these allegations.
Yeah.
So there's more to this story. And Jay, you didn't get a chance to really get into the minutia because of the story because did I use that word right? Minutia, do you want to question that? Or did that sound like it wasn't right? Because I know I used it right.
I'm never going to hit into this.
Never again. But I know you haven't really been able to get into the details. So the details are Sharp's lawyers released text messages where it's very graphic that the plaintiff, Jane Doe, is saying, very graphic things that she wants him to do with her.
Okay.
They have released audio recordings that Sharp is saying is edited, where he says, I'm going to choke the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Because she's pissing him off. And she was like, well, I don't want to be choked. And he was like, well, yeah, you do. You want to be choked. And there are text messages where there was a sexual encounter and she texted him, I don't know how I feel about this. I asked you to use a condom and I asked you not to put it there. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all read up on the text messages. I'm not going to get into that. It is too graphic. And we try to be somewhat of a journalistic type show, even though we get messy.
Yeah.
What I can say, because I can't speak to his innocence or guilt, I wasn't there.
Yes.
What I can say is this is all a bad luck.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah. And I haven't gotten into, you said that there was some bad advice given by the defense attorney.
Yeah.
So I haven't, I'm interested to see what that is, but I did see his vehement denial.
That was the bad advice. The way that he denied it, and if you watch it, it's just like, oh, bro, like you shouldn't have done that. Like deny it, but I mean, I guess in a way, if you didn't do it, I know if I was being accused of something like this, and ladies and gentlemen, I would never do anything like this. If I was being accused of something like this, I would scream to the top of my lungs, I ain't do this shit. I didn't do it. Like, I get that aspect of it. Yeah. But the way it comes off and them releasing the text messages between her, like, if it's going to be a civil case, let it play out in court. Don't bring it to public attention. It makes it look bad. And he already looks bad because you can't dispute the fact that he got kinks. And look, got kinks, cool. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Do your thing. What's bad to me.
If it's consensual, then there's no problem.
There's no problem. What's bad to me is I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday. And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get graphic. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and I said, I have never made a good decision when my dick has made the decision. It's there has never been not one good decision that my
Yeah.
dick has made for me.
Yeah.
Not one.
Yeah. Well, yes.
I am about to be 45 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to a friend this morning because we were talking about the Shannon Sharp thing, and I was like, 35 years old is my youngest that I could date. Because
Okay.
after that, it gets real spooky.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This
for
man
sure.
is in his mid-50s. She was 19, and if you look at pictures of her, she looks like a little girl.
Yeah, and as far as I know, like this relationship was 2 years ago.
No, it started in 2023, but they were still carrying on in January.
Right. So my point is he was quite old.
Yeah.
In comparison to her. So
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those things of like, what is a 19-year-old do? He was like, what, 54, 53, 54 at the time? Like,
Mhm.
what? Okay.
And my thing is this too. My man is rich, right? He got
Yeah.
bread because he's
Yeah.
all over the place. Got about to sign $100 million deal for his podcast. And that's just one of his jobs, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever happened to getting yourself a call girl or getting an escort service? If you got kink, you know, they got that. I had one of my
Yeah.
female friends, and I don't know why she asked me. One of my female friends said, "Hey, I got to ask you something. Can I call you?" And I was like, "Look, anytime you call me, I know it's some bullshit, but okay, give me a call." And she called me and she was like, "Hey, do you know of like any DS or BDSM or dominatrix groups that I could join?" And I said, "Why would you think that I would have that information?"
She said, "Hey, you look like the type."
No, I was like, "Why do you think I would have that type of information?" Like, "No, I don't." She was like, "Oh, because I know you like interview sex workers and stuff like that." And I was like,
okay, yeah, that might be, yeah. For you,
I'm not
you might have friends in the biz, and can make some calls and figure out some things.
I was like, "No, I can't help you." And I was like,
I think you might actually be able to, though.
Could I make some calls? Yeah, I don't want to make those uncomfortable calls. I'm not going to do that. That's not my relationship with those people. And that would make it weird in that aspect. And I was just like, yo, we're in our 40s. Isn't it a little late in the game to be getting into this? Like, this seems like this is something that you should have tried when you was younger.
No, it's never too late to explore your sexual side. I don't think we should put an age on that. And as long as things are consensual,
right?
Like there's really no problem. And you're right, there are sex workers who specialize in certain kinks, like, and it's Las Vegas, I'm sure.
Right.
Sure.
It's legal there in certain
Yeah.
parts of Vegas. Why didn't he just go? So he gets in a relationship with this 19-year-old.
Right. Which is already like, okay,
problematic. And I tend to believe her when she says certain aspects about feeling manipulated and bullied because he's a hulking of a man, number one.
Yeah, it's a large man, yes.
A large man. He's older. He has all the money.
And fame.
And fame.
And when you add money plus fame, it equals power.
Right. So he's dictating how the relationship goes. And I'll never forget my friend explaining to me how sometimes she was in situations where she would just go along with situations like in a man's home or something like that because she never knew how the man was going to react. Now, just imagine that man is 6'4", 260 pounds and shredded and a former all-pro Hall of Fame football player.
Yeah.
Tony Busby got some ish about him too. He's always around these cases. And it always seems like he's trying to get money. Because my thing is, if it happened in January 2025 and you're suing him civilly, shouldn't there also be a criminal case as well?
Yeah, it kind of, because I mean, I don't know the statute of limitations in Las Vegas.
20 years.
For sexual assault?
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm confused why there isn't a criminal case. If you've got the evidence to present during discovery that would prove your case, I don't know why you wouldn't file criminal charges also, because I would want not just for him to pay financially, but if these allegations are in fact true and they have the evidence to prove it, I mean, I would want him to be held responsible criminally.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I mean, it's up to Jane Doe whether whether she wants to file those charges. According to Busby, Sharp offered her $10 million to settle her case, which she rejected.
Yeah. So there's been I was watching an interview with a lawyer, because a lot of people have said, well, I mean, he offered 10 million, so that means he automatically did it. And there's a formula for paying settlements, something like that. It's the lawyers could come to Sharp and say, look, there's a 10% chance that you're going to lose this case. Okay, 10% chance. So what's 10% of 50 million? That'd be 5 million, right?
Yeah.
Not including lawyer fees, which are automatically going to be around $8 million for a case like this, right? So you offer to settle if you go to trial, right? $8 million if you go to trial. So you offer to settle for 10 million because you know at the very least it's a high probability that you're going to be out 13 million. So you offer the 10 million up front so that you up 3 million. So just because he was willing to settle for $10 million, which is a lot of money, by the way, that doesn't mean that he's acknowledging guilt.
Yeah, likely the stipulation would be this, there would be some sort of language in there where this is not an admission of guilt.
Yeah.
It's just, if he can avoid the bad publicity. He seems very open to releasing whatever he needs to release to prove that he is not, to prove that these allegations are false. So, but you want to avoid such a public, view of like very private situations.
Does he though?
I don't know, because this is also the same dude that went live by quote unquote accident, even though it's very difficult to just go live. Like, there are several buttons you have to push. You don't just it's not like a butt dial. Like, you can't just go live by accident. You just can't.
A butt dial while he's having sex. Come on now. That pun was intended.
I mean, it wasn't, but if it's there, have at it.
He's also a spokesman for one of those male enhancement pills. It's not Blue Chew, is Rio or something like that. Like, he's a huge spokesman for that. What also needs to be talked about is there is a video recording of what the plaintiff says is the sexual assault.
Yeah.
He's come out and said, and they offered to show in the settlement agreement when they were mediating, they offered to show the video, and he denied to look at the video. They're claiming that the video is heavily edited, and I was like, how's it heavily edited if you haven't even looked at it? That doesn't make any sense to me. And that they were role playing, and that doesn't mean that it was sexual assault. Now, all those things could be true. At the very least, once again, I will say, this is a bad look.
Yeah, it's not great.
There is nothing good that could come from any of this. And it seems like he keeps putting himself into these stupid situations.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just joking about you earlier, but Shannon Sharp is a person where actually his voice does sound down.
But that's because he has a lisp and he's country.
It seems to be lining up with his common sense as well. It seems to be sorely lacking. I mean, I hope for his sake that, and for this young lady's sake, that these allegations are actually not true. That's what I hope. But either way, this is gonna get even messier because it feels to me like Shannon Sharp is willing to do and put out and post anything to get out from under this. And so it's I mean, a lot of these deals and stuff, he's gonna have to kiss goodbye because just the fact that your private detail, like your private business and the private things that you're into, come out, it's hard to get advertising dollars
I would
behind
say,
something like that.
I would say maybe, but he's already done it. He's a Disney employee.
Yeah.
He works for ESPN. ESPN is owned by Disney.
Yeah.
He had that accidental sex live thing on Instagram, and there was no heat or backlash. He got a deal with a male enhancement. So I'm thinking, if he beats this doesn't do any damage to his marketability because he'll just market himself as a what is it? Virile? Is that the right word? Virile, almost 60-year-old, because he is almost 60 years old. I think he's 56, 57. A virile 60-year-old man that's just loving life and doing what's to do.
Isn't that double standard? Just
yeah, because who got
because if it
backlash?
was a woman, boy.
Speaking of that, you know who got backlash for saying that she likes to date younger men?
Tracy Ellis Ross.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And even though I 100% agree with her, she's not talking about she wants to date 18-year-olds. First of all, relax. But yeah, she's 52. The men her age, the men my age, a lot of them, the masculinity is toxic. And so, and you don't want to deal with it. But a lot of these younger guys don't have that hang up. They're used to seeing successful women, and they're used to seeing successful Black women. I mean, they grew up with their first lady being Michelle Obama.
Yeah,
so
right.
so that the Black woman's success or women's success in general doesn't scare away these younger guys.
Wow, I just now thought about that. If you took somebody who was 10 years younger than me, so a man that's 34 years old, that means he was 18 years old with Michelle Obama. Excuse me. I don't even know what happened. Started getting a little.
Your voice went out there a little bit.
My voice went out there. Maybe I'm not. Maybe because it's subconscious. My subconscious is trying not to sound stupid. Anyway.
Lord. Ladies and gentlemen, be prepared to hear about this for another 3 or 4 episodes.
I will beat a dead horse. I will beat a dead horse.
Good
but no,
Lord.
When you think about it, that man was 18 years old seeing Michelle Obama as a first lady. But you would think that men are my age would also have that type of reverence, because we saw Hillary Clinton.
Nah.
Okay.
I mean, I would love to elaborate, but the answer is just nah. You'd think so.
You would think so. Yeah.
But nah.
Because I saw Hillary Clinton. Well, no, because I was toxic as well. I didn't stop being toxic till I was 43 years old. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, once again, like I said at the beginning, I have never made a good decision when my dick was making a decision. Sorry, people, for being so graphic, but I just haven't. Men don't make good decisions when that part of our body is making the decision. And it was clear. They met in a gym, and she described it as he was persistently hollering. And I was just like, bruh, like, you, Shannon Sharp, even though she is an OnlyFans girl, ain't no woman that bad that I'm going to look, I'm regular old Bruce.
Yeah.
I don't persistently bother anybody. And I ain't even Shannon Sharp got money like that.
Right.
I don't understand, if you Shannon Sharp got money like that, why you need to persistently bother a 19-year-old.
Right.
just dumb decision that he put himself. If this is not true and he didn't do this, which is an if for me, he put himself in this position from his dumb ass decision making.
Yeah.
There was not one smart decision that he made throughout this entire process.
No.
Not one.
No.
So,
and, I mean, you know, if these allegations are not true, he would be the victim in this situation. So I don't want to victim blame.
no, I'm a victim blame on this one, because even if he is a victim, he put himself in this position.
But you know, you just gotta, if it was a situation where he thought they're role playing, but you know, she somewhere along the way was no longer into it. Like there should have, typically there are, you know,
Safe
protections in place,
Yeah.
safe words and things like that. And it's like an ongoing conversation, ensuring like, do I have consent? Are we both still on the same page with this? Like, are we both still enjoying this and getting, you know, equal enjoyment out of whatever we're doing? Because if her mind changed somewhere along the way and she felt like she couldn't, because of who he was, you know, say something or assert herself or something. I mean, it's a tough situation. It's tough.
The one text message that I keep going back to is they did what they did, and she texted him and she said, I told you I wanted you to wear a condom and you didn't wear a condom. And I told you I didn't want you to put it there and you put it there. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know how I feel. Those type of buzzwords, I've heard those buzzwords before. Like, you're just like, I don't know what happened. I don't know how I feel about this. I've heard that before. And that's not a woman.
Not directed towards him.
No, not directed to me. I think I've told the story before where I worked crisis hotline at the University of Maryland.
Yeah.
For like a short period of time because I couldn't deal with it. Because I realized that the stories of sexual assault that were reported in the newspaper were not nearly what was happening on campus.
No. There were many more.
Yeah, so I've heard it through counseling and from my female friends. I know certain words and phrases that they use where it was like, oh, you're unsure about this because you didn't really give consent, but this happened.
Yeah.
And you don't know how to feel about this.
Right.
But if this is true that she blatantly said, hey, yo, I told you wear a condom. Like, I told you I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And you did it anyway, that in and of alone is sexual misconduct.
Yeah.
And the fact that this was sent through a text message and he didn't respond back, yo, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, where has this come from? And he just didn't say anything. This don't look good. But then again, you know, I tend to believe, unfortunately, that Shannon Sharp is just not too bright. So maybe he don't know how to respond to these type of situations.
Or, you know, it could have been a situation where she sent it and I mean, we don't know. We just don't know, you know. It's very, very tough situation. But, you know, my first instinct is always to believe the victim.
Yeah.
I know that people are innocent until proven guilty, but I will give the victim the benefit of the doubt. And if she is pursuing this after receiving an offer to settle and is saying, no, I want to pursue this case, then we just gotta let it play out in court and see if she can prove her case or he can prove his and see what happens. But my first instinct is always to believe the victim.
Yeah. This is going to get settled out of court. She didn't take the 10 million. They offered 10. She's going at 50. They'll meet somewhere in the middle. Probably be about 25 million.
Yeah, I don't know that, or, you know, I see his dander is up. So I don't know if he might want to push it.
and there's $100 million on the table, I wouldn't push it. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, if I knew that some of my kinks were going to be so explicit, because it seems like some of his kinks are real explicit, that they were going to be so explicit that they were truly, even though I've been modeled as this, I'm the onk that's still getting it in, that could damage my brand, and I could potentially lose part of that 100 million. 75 million is a whole lot better than whatever few 10 million that he got.
Yeah.
I think this is going to get settled, but I think this is a very similar case to Kobe Bryant, where I want to give the benefit of the doubt to him and to her, and think that this is a wrong choice of words, ladies and gentlemen. I wish I had better words. A really unfortunate misunderstanding and lack of communication of what was going on. That's what I'm thinking it is. I don't think he's one of these I'm going to take it type dudes. I just don't think he is, but hey, you know what? You never know.
You never know. I mean, honestly, well, I'm sure not me, but I'm sure other people were extremely surprised when that video of Diddy came out in that hotel hallway.
Oh, yeah, I was surprised about that video. I didn't think
You never know what people are capable of.
You never know.
Just never know. And I feel like we're in a time and space now where people are feeling more, they're getting their courage up as far as coming forward against powerful people, because they're seeing other people be successful in outing these people and getting some form of justice, whether it be criminal or civil. So I don't think it's going to be the end of people coming forward and saying, no, these powerful people abuse their power in really, really awful ways. So.
All right, you can bring the kids back in. We're going to try to get some more funny stuff next. Jay, you've known me for a long time.
Yes, 40 years.
And have I ever had a poker face of what I'm thinking?
Not ever. Not never.
Not never.
Yeah, if anybody who watches the YouTube as opposed to listening on your favorite social media platforms or whatnot.
It's audio platforms, not social media
audio,
platforms.
Whatever. The platforms, y'all know what I'm talking about. Listen, come on now.
Y'all she got a lot of finals going on. She in the final season.
If you watch, then you see neither one of us have a poker face.
No. You know exactly what I'm thinking. I know exactly what you're thinking. People around me know exactly what I'm thinking. I have the WTF lines on my forehead, the wrinkles on my forehead, because I'm always scrunching up my face when somebody says something stupid. And it just so happens, it feels like people say stupid stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So what does this mean? What does your face mean when you're not saying words, but the words are coming off of your face? So there's scientific support for the idea that people often reveal what they are thinking or feeling through their facial expressions. Even when they try to hide it, facial expressions are a powerful form of nonverbal communication that convey emotions such as happiness, anger, sadness, fear, and more. And that more is, for me, irritation.
Yes.
Research by Dr. Paul Ekman has identified several universal facial expressions that are recognized across cultures, suggesting that some aspects of facial expressions are deeply rooted in human biology.
Yeah.
However, the relationship between racial expressions and true thoughts or feelings is complex. So
facial.
What did I say?
You keep saying racial, but I know you see the spatial, but
I said, how many times did I say racial?
Like twice.
My dyslexia is kicking in. I'm reading something, ladies and gentlemen, and the reason why I stop on words is because the letters don't be mixing up, and I had to reform them in my head. It's called dyslexia.
You mean they do mix up?
Exactly. See, this is the reason why she says I have a dumb sounding voice, because sometimes what I say is dumb as hell. keep saying racial instead of facial.
Yeah.
All right. There are things called micro expressions. These are
Yes.
very brief, involuntary facial expressions that occur when someone tries to conceal an emotion.
Mhm.
Micro expressions can last less than a fifth of a second and may reveal true feelings even when a person is attempting to hide them.
Yes.
For example, someone might flash a look of disgust or fear before quickly masking it with a smile.
Yeah.
That is me
Yeah.
every day of my life.
Yeah. Mine are more like macro expressions because I do not mask afterwards. If a look of disgust pop on my face, it stay on there until somebody tells me to fix my face.
You know what? Now that I think about it, you know what mom's favorite thing to say to us was?
What was that?
Fix your face.
Yes.
Fix your face. What? Now I understand what that means.
Yes.
I didn't realize it's only recently that people have been pointing out to me, your face is telling me everything that your words aren't saying.
Mm-hmm.
Or they'll just say, yeah, your face and your words match right now.
Yeah.
Because as I've gotten older, I've gotten less and less of a filter.
That part. Yeah. So you'll see my face and then quickly after the words will come to match what my face is doing. So if I make a face after you say something that says, you sound dumb as hell, and then just know what will follow will be me saying, you sound dumb as hell.
All right, there's masking and concealment.
Yes.
People can sometimes successfully hide their true emotions. Research shows that follow-up movements such as deliberate smile can mask micro expressions in the eyes, making it difficult even for attentive observers to detect the original emotion. This masking effect is particularly strong when the mouth movement follows the initial involuntary expression in the eyes. I don't know what none of that means.
Yeah. So what I think it means is that, like, first you get that involuntary expression in your eyes of like, "Ugh," and then you kind of smile afterwards, like you like, oh, that's hey, like it's a little bit of like it's that quick cover up.
The quick cover up.
Yeah.
I think I did that. So I remember one time, my very first job, I was working at Walden Bookstore, and I was a low man on the totem pole.
Yeah.
So you know what they had me do?
All the grunt work.
Yep, unbox all the books.
Yeah.
And then go put them in the proper categories.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would have to punch in a number into the computer to find out which category it was, because I lied on my resume and an interview and said I was an avid reader. You and I both know. You and I both know.
Yeah, that immediately made me spit my coffee.
Yeah. I didn't even read the books that was assigned in high school. So I wasn't reading nothing.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people would go in the Walden bookstore and they couldn't find the books. You know why? Because I would get tired.
Yeah.
And I'll just go put the books anywhere. Like, I don't care. They don't know that the customer didn't put it here. I'm gonna go put the books anywhere.
I'll be checking that camera and be like, look, watch Bruce put it in the wrong spot. Watch. There you go. There it is.
So my manager came up to me in the back and he was talking to me about giving me like a bunch of things that I needed to do. And as he was telling me this, he was like, all right, is everything okay? Are you mad about something? Of course I was mad. I was mad because I didn't want to do none of those jobs that he was labeling off for me to do. Yeah. You know what I wanted to do? Sit at the cash register and ring people up. That's all I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
Okay. But he was going to have me do all this grunt work. And low key, there's a piece of me that was like, you're making me do this because I'm Black. But realistically, I was the only young person in there. And I was the only one that could really lift the boxes and stuff like that. It was like some old women that typically worked in there. And I was like, and then I want to call her Miss Seeley. That was not her name, but Miss Seeley, I loved her so much. And I was like, Miss Seeley, you ain't got to do that. I'll lift it up.
Yeah.
But my face said I was mad as hell. And when he said that, I know I quickly changed my face, but I couldn't hide it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm pretty good at masking, depending on the situation I'm in. Because like, especially like at work or something, somebody makes a lame joke about Mondays and you're like, even though you're inside, you want to go, just roll your eyes and kind of be like, please shut up and get out of my face. So I think I'm pretty good at masking in situations like that. But as I get older, less and less so.
Yeah. So there are also limitations of interpretation and asymmetry of mixed signals. Basically, sometimes our facial expressions can convey something, but it's not our actual true emotions.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's always my true emotion. There is never any time that my face is lying to you. My face is telling you exactly how I feel. I don't know why people listen to the words that speak to contradict the faces that I make.
Yeah.
If you say to me, hey, did that sound stupid? And my face is reading, yeah, that was dumb as hell. But I come out of my mouth and be like, no. If you like it, I love it. I'm lying to you.
Yeah, if I'm looking like this, it'll be like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, no.
Like, I'm clearly, I don't think it's nice.
This woman I was dating one time asked me, she said, do you like these pants? And I said, yeah, I like them. She's like, no, you don't. Your face is telling me that you don't. What? I didn't even do nothing. She was like, your face said there was a disgusted look on your face. I was like, all right, fine. I'm not the greatest fan of those pants, but you could still, as a matter of fact, I'm not going to say who it was. I know it. I'll tell you off camera who it was. Okay. I was like, I hate them ugly ass pants. So ladies and gentlemen, if you can't hide who you are through your facial expressions, you know what? Don't. Be your true, authentic self.
Be yourself. Yeah. Be yourself.
Even if it's at your boss. Sometimes your boss needs to know that you think that they're dumb as hell. You don't have to say it.
You don't have to say it.
You don't have to say it.
I ain't say nothing.
But your face will say it.
You can't take me to HR over my face.
I think they can say facial expressions can be threatening. I think that is a thing.
I don't know. Y'all tell me. Can you be taking the HR over your face? Because if so, I should be in HR. A lot.
Yeah, I am HR. So
because I will be in them Zoom meetings and be like,
I am HR, so you can't take me to me.
Right.
Oh, all right. We laughed a little bit after that last segment. Jay, what do you want to tell these people out here?
Be yourself. Be yourself. Because if you're not yourself, who the hell are you?
Right. Or take what Salt and Pepper said. Express yourself. Because you and I and only you are. Express yourself.
I don't know.
I don't think those were the right words. I'm
pretty sure. Because I've never heard that collection of words together in my life. I got to be honest with you.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen. I got a dumb voice. Anyway, on that note, I want to thank you for listening.
Just 2 or 3 more episodes of that, y'all.
I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for watching. And until next time, as always, I'll holla. I had to turn off the music because it takes 2 to make a thing go right. Let's get ready to start playing. Did you get a chance to get a look at the rundown and or take a look at the videos? No. So you don't know what the hell we're talking about. Okay, so we dilly-daddling, and the second segment is the Shannon Sharp allegations, and then we're gonna be talking about facial expressions.
I heard something about Shannon Sharp and all of that. Let me watch how long is this video?
It's like 12 minutes. No, that's the reason why I sent it to you this morning.
Yeah, I didn't have time to look at I'm incredibly.
Okay, well, let's turn off all the sounds. Okay, let's just get started because you're incredibly busy. And wait a minute. Damn, what am I going to say on the intro? Okay, yeah. I think I know what I'm going to say. All right, you ready? You all set up and everything? You ready to go?
Yep.
All right, let me pin you first. Mom ain't coming in there. Does she know that we're working today, right now?
I think she sleeps. Right?
Okay, well,
I think we're good.
We need to start putting a note on your door says live recording is in effect. Don't come crawling in. It would help if I could move my fingers, right? Am I having a stroke? Shit.
This tastes pretty.
Are you
Shut up
ready?
for y'all make me smile.
We'll go 10 minutes because we're already at 53 minutes. Or
Okay.
it's probably about 50 minutes, so we'll go another 10 minutes for this segment.
Okay. Ooh, I gotta take this wig off.
Whew, that was a hell of a show. Thank you for rocking with us here on Unsolicited Perspectives with Bruce Anthony. Now, before you go, don't forget to follow, subscribe, like, comment, and share our podcast wherever you're listening or watching into it. Pass it along to your friends. If you enjoy it, that means the people that you rock will enjoy it also. So share the wealth, share the knowledge, share the noise. And for all those people that say, well, I don't have a YouTube. If you have a Gmail account, you have a YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can actually watch our video podcast and YouTube exclusive content. But the real party is on our Patreon page, After Hours Uncensored and Talking Straight-ish. After Hours Uncensored is another show with my sister. And once again, the key word there is uncensored. Those are exclusively on our Patreon page. Jump onto our website at unsolicitedperspectives.com for all things us. That's where you can get all of our audio, video, our blogs, and even buy our merch. And if you really feel generous and want to help us out, you can donate on our donations page. Donations go strictly to improving our software and hardware so we can keep giving you guys good content that you can clearly listen to and that you can clearly see. So any donation would be appreciative. Most importantly, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for listening and watching and supporting us. And I'll catch you next time. Audi 5000. Peace.